This is actually 16.3, so like your delta math will be called 16.3. Permutations and combinations. For both of these, you need to know what a factorial is, and a factorial, it's like that's the definition of it. Product of an integer. So product, you know what product means? Does it mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide? I heard some, yes. Yeah, it means multiply. Like sum means add, difference is subtract. There's lots of different words for that meaning. But yes, it is going to mean multiply that integer and all the ones below it. So this would be 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. All right. And that's going to be 120 for that factorial. All right, so permutations, they are distinctly ordered arrangements. So what that means is that the order matters. Like for permutations, order matters. For combinations, order does not matter. But for this one, order matters. So for example, like you have 10 people. What all arrangements of them getting first, second, and third place could there be? If there's a race. And, repetitions are not allowed because the order matters. All right, so we have these 5 people in this example. Alan, Cassie, Maggie, Seth, and Roger. That is 5 people. They want to take a photo in which 3 of the 5 friends are lined up in a row. All right, so they have 5 people and they're selecting 3 of them. So for this one, this is kind of a weird example, but they have 5 people. They want to pick 3 of them and then put them in different orders. So like it matters who's standing on the left, the middle, and the right for that permutation formula. So we've got some letters here that we're going to explain what that means. So N is the total. So the total number of people is 5. Total. That's what N is. So we're going to put these letters here. We're going to have a big P and then a little N and a little R. And that's a permutation. What the formula is this. You take N factorial and you divide it by N minus R factorial. All right, so what that looks like is 5 factorial over 5 minus 3 factorial. And if I make that longer, like 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and then this down here, 5 minus 3 is 2, so that would be 2 factorial, because, that's in parentheses, so you have to subtract first. 2 times 1. What is actually happening is these 2's and 1's are crossing out, and it's really just 5 times 4 times 3. So 60, yeah. Okay, so what is actually happening? So that's the formula, and that's what it looks like. But another way you can think about this is you have 3 spots. 1, 2, 3 spots. For the first spot, you've got 5 people that can go into it. 5 possibilities. For the second spot, you've got 4 people that can, because 1 is already in the first spot. And then for the third spot, these 2 spots are filled up, so you got 3 people left that can fill in it. So 5 times 4 times 3. That's what's actually happening with permutations. There's 3 spots, and then there's 5 people that you can fill into the different spots. So 5 times 4 times 3, so that's 60. So there's different ways that you can think about this. This is the formula, so that's what's happening. But in my mind, I think it's easier to think of it like this. All right, for this one, you've got 4 things: president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. So your total is 12, but there's 4 spots. But the order matters. So it matters like who gets president. You can have the same 4 people, but if they're in different spots, we're still counting that as a different group of people. So 12 factorial, the total, and then divided by 8 factorial. So really all that's left is 12. So your 4 spots, 12 times 11 times 10 times 9. is what's happening. Because you're subtracting 8 factorial. It's like you end up canceling that out. Which another way to write that, if you guys, it would be times 8 factorial, and then those 8 factorials would be canceled out. So your 4 spots are 12 times 10, 11 times 10 times 9. You can write all that in, or just 12 times 11 times 10 times 9. And you get a giant number, 11,880. So yeah, that's like the behind the scenes what's happening, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut now. So you've got 10 students, and they're chosen from a class of 30. So instead of like making 10 blanks and doing 30 times 29 times 28 times 27, like 10 times, that takes forever. What I'm going to show you is that the calculator can, you know, do this for you. R is 10. So how do I know it's 10? Because it says 10 students are chosen. 30 students, from 30 students. So total, and then the rest. And then it's written like this. So permutation, your total goes first, and then the amount you're picking goes second, and then there is a place in the calculator. So now it's time to get your calculator and go to math. Calculator, math. And then you're going to go to probability. So you're going to go over to prob, and then down to NPR. And it does 30, and it does 10, and you get this. So another reason I put this, which that won't happen in Delta, but you may see this, that is scientific notation. So don't freak out. You either have seen it in science before or will see it. It's just, you're going to round to the nearest tenth here, so 1.1 for this number, and then this E means times 10 to the exponent, that's why it's exponent, 14. So it's not actually 1.1. You take this decimal and you have to move it to the right 14 times, but that's a number that no one wants to write out. So we just write it like that. All right, let's go to the next page. Yeah, so the order doesn't matter. It's like you've got a basketball team with 8 players. How many different lineups can you throw out there? So how many lineups of 5 players can you throw out there? But it doesn't matter who goes out there first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, because they're all going out there at the same time. So like for this one, you have 8 players. You're selecting any 5. The order does not matter. All right, yeah. Okay. So in symbols, it means, what does N equals 8, R equals 5. So it's the same symbol type. No, 5, not C. 5. So the symbol looks like this. N, C, R. And here is what the formula is. N factorial over R factorial times N minus R factorial. Okay, so this is what's happening, and it's, if you notice, it's like the same as permutations, but what's happening is you have to again divide it by the R factorial, because when order matters, it's going to be a much larger number. When order does not matter, you've got to cut out all of the different combinations of things that have the same number of people, which by doing that would be to divide by the R factorial, or the number you're choosing. Okay, so if we have 5 spots, it would essentially be the same thing that we did before. So 8 times 7 times 6, and then 8 minus 5 is 3 factorial. It's 4. Okay, because you've got 5 spots. You're picking 5. And then that 3 factorial is going to get canceled out. All right. Your R factorial is 5 factorial. And then your N minus R is 3 factorial. So that's what gets canceled out. So it's basically 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4. So what a permutation would be, and then you take the permutation and you divide it by 5 factorial. Okay. I know that's complicated. Don't overthink it. It's really just the combinations are going to be smaller because the order does not matter. You're going to have fewer combinations than permutations. But 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 is going to be this number. that would be the permutation for that if it mattered what order, but we're going to divide that by 5 factorial. So I'm going to go to probability, and I'm going to go to that factorial, which is 4, and I'm going to put 5 in there. So we're going to take that number, divide it by 5 factorial, but I think this needs to be in parentheses or it won't do that correctly. And I'm going to get 56. Okay. It did work with that? Okay, good. So it's 56, but let's look at it as, like, just let the calculator do it for us. So in CR, your numbers are 8. You're always going to put the biggest number first, if that helps. It's also 56. So, I mean, the calculator will do it for you. I'm just up here showing you how to do this. Let's come down here, and for the rest of these, let's just use the calculator for, you know, what it does best, the math. All right, so you have a committee of 5 people to be chosen from 6 men, 4 women. So that's 10 total, and you're choosing 5 people. So it's 10, C5. It's just a committee. It doesn't matter, like, who, there's no, everybody's equal on the committee. No president, vice president, any of that. So you go to math, you go to prob, or for probability. In CR is 10, C5, and you're going to get 252. So these numbers are going to be smaller than the permutation ones. There's only 252 groups of those 5 people chosen from a group of 10. And then it says a committee of 5 people would be chosen from 6 men and 2 women. How many committees are possible if there's going to be 3 men and 2 women? All right. So this is the second type. You're going to see this on Delta. This is the second type where you've got 2 different types of combinations. So we have men times women. We're going to write it out like this. So for the men, it's going to be the total is 6 men, and they're going to choose 3 of them. For the women, there's 4 women, and they're going to choose 2 of them. Okay? So we're going to write this out like this. 6C3 times 4C2. All right, you should be getting 120. If you get 0, it means you typed it in wrong. Combinations should never be 0. Okay? All right, this one is you're playing a hand of poker. There's 52 total cards, and you want 5 of them, and you will see there's a large amount of hands that are possible in poker. Because out of 52 cards, if you get 5, that's over 2 million hands possible. 2,598,960 is the total possible hands. Okay, we didn't have an example like this, but if you see what's going on here, it's 2 permutations that you have to multiply. That second section of Delta, there's 2 sections. The second section, you're either multiplying permutations or multiplying combinations. Notice the difference is that this is a running competition with a bronze, silver, and gold medal. So the confusing thing is that people want to put 6 as this second number, but it's actually just 3. Because you're giving 3 medals to the boys and 3 medals to the girls. So I'm going to leave this up there. That way, when you get to it, if you are confused, you can just look up here and it gives you an example. That's it for today.